What if the person you trusted most, someone you loved, admired, and believed would always have your back, was keeping explosive secrets about you and being paid to do it? That's exactly the shocking reality Doria Ragland has revealed, a confession that has sent shockwaves through the royal world and left fans of Meghan Markle questioning everything they thought they knew about her family. For years, the world has speculated about Meghan's relationships with her parents, her struggles, her early life, but no one imagined the truth would come out in this way. This isn't a story of casual misunderstandings or sibling squabbles. This is about financial agreements, silence bought with money, and secrets so private that even the tabloids didn't dare to touch them. And now, for the first time, Doria is breaking her silence. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Imagine what it must have been like for her to sit in the shadow of a daughter who became one of the most famous women in the world, to witness the glare of the public eye, the endless scrutiny, the constant judgment, and to know that there were things she could never say. For years, she followed a delicate, invisible line between loyalty, privacy, and survival. And all along, a financial agreement tied her hands. She was legally bound to stay quiet about Meghan's family history, early relationships, and other private matters. Think about that for a moment. Being paid to stay silent about your own family. It's almost impossible to imagine, but according to Doria, it happened. But why now? Why break the silence after all these years? Doria's revelation comes at a moment when the royal world is already rife with speculation. Meghan's relationship with her father, Thomas Markle, has been strained for decades. Her sister, Samantha Markle, has never been shy about voicing her frustrations. And now, Doria steps into the spotlight to admit what so many suspected, but no one had proof of, until this confession. This isn't just a tabloid scoop. This is a seismic shift in how we see Meghan's family and the private forces that shaped her public life. And the timing couldn't be more explosive. Imagine the tension behind closed doors. Every holiday, every family gathering, every private conversation. Over the years, there were lines that could not be crossed, topics that could not be mentioned, and secrets that could not see the light of day. All of it carefully controlled, all of it quietly enforced by an agreement that ensured Doria's silence. And yet, the emotional cost was enormous. The guilt, the frustration, the sense of helplessness. It was there in every smile and every quiet nod, behind the composed exterior of a mother who had sacrificed her voice for her daughter's public image. You have to wonder, how much can one person endure before breaking? And Doria did break. The world may have thought the silence would last forever, that Meghan's family stories would remain locked away behind closed doors and legal agreements. But the truth has a way of surfacing, and now, for the first time, we are hearing it straight from Doria herself. Her confession is more than a statement. It's a revelation that exposes tension, betrayal, and unspoken pain. It also raises a question that every viewer will want answered. If Doria was paid to stay silent, what else has been hidden? What are the secrets the world has yet to hear? And Doria's revelation is just the beginning. Soon, Thomas Markle and Samantha Markle will also step forward, and their stories promise to complicate everything we thought we knew. Family disputes, financial entanglements, and long-standing grievances are all part of the picture. What will happen when all these voices converge? How will the public react to a family torn between loyalty, resentment, and explosive revelations? The truth is, no one can predict it. But one thing is certain. This is a story that cannot be ignored, and it will change the way we see Meghan Markle and her family forever. What would you do if keeping quiet about your own family's secrets meant being paid? Could you live with the guilt, the frustration, and the weight of silence, knowing that every word you didn't say was shaping someone else's story? For Doria Ragland, this was reality for years. The woman who raised Meghan Markle, who stood quietly behind her daughter through the whirlwind of fame, privilege, and public scrutiny, has finally revealed what so many suspected, but no one dared to confirm. She signed a financial agreement with Meghan herself, legally binding her to silence about family history, early relationships, and other private matters that the public has long speculated about. Imagine the tension behind that decision. On one hand, there's loyalty to her daughter. On the other, there's the human need to speak, to express, to share the truth. Doria's choice wasn't easy. She watched Meghan's rise to fame, the global obsession with every gesture, every interview, every decision. And behind the scenes, she bore the quiet burden of secrets she wasn't allowed to voice. Each holiday, each family gathering, must have been a delicate dance, carefully avoiding forbidden topics, tiptoeing around conversations that could trigger scrutiny. Or worse, the wrath of a legally binding agreement. But why would Meghan pay her own mother to stay silent? The answer lies in control. In crafting her public image, Meghan, and those guiding her, knew the importance of narrative. Family stories, no matter how minor, could explode into scandals that would overshadow everything she had built. Every early relationship, every personal mistake, every family tension was a potential headline. And so Doria became the gatekeeper, a mother torn between love and legality, keeping her voice in check for the sake of her daughter's image. Doria's revelation is also deeply emotional. Think about the inner conflict, pride in her daughter's achievements, but frustration at being muzzled, relief at finally speaking out, but fear of the backlash it might create. It's a contradiction that resonates with anyone who's had to choose between loyalty and honesty. She admits now that the agreement weighed on her heavily, sometimes causing sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and silent tears in the privacy of her own home. And here's the part that will shock many. Doria hints that some of what she was prevented from sharing involves not just trivial family matters, but deep, personal stories, things that could rewrite public perception of Meghan entirely. Secrets about past relationships, private disputes, and intimate family moments kept hidden from the world for decades. But Doria is not the only one breaking her silence. Because as monumental as this confession is, Thomas Markle and Samantha Markle have their own revelations waiting, and their stories promise to complicate everything we think we know. The stage is set for a confrontation of truths, loyalties, and hidden grievances that could shake the Markle family and Meghan's image. At its core, if you thought Doria's confession was shocking, wait until you hear what Thomas and Samantha Markle have to say. Imagine watching your own family story unfold on the world stage. Every slight, every argument, every secret magnified for millions to see, and knowing that your voice has been drowned out for years. That's exactly what Thomas and Samantha have experienced, and now, after decades of quiet resentment, they are finally speaking out. Thomas Markle, Meghan's father, has long been a figure of public fascination. His strained relationship with his daughter has fueled countless headlines, but according to him, there's far more beneath the surface than anyone imagined. He claims that over the years, he tried to reach out, to mend fences, to connect, but was consistently blocked, sidelined, or ignored. Letters went unanswered. Calls went unreturned. Meetings that were supposed to happen never materialized. And while the world saw a polite, composed public persona, Thomas says there was a different story behind closed doors, a narrative of exclusion, frustration, and a sense of betrayal that only intensified with Meghan's rise to fame. Then there's Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister, who has never shied away from sharing her perspective. Her voice carries a mixture of anger, disappointment, and disbelief. She paints a picture of a family fractured by miscommunication, misunderstandings, and what she perceives as deliberate silences. Samantha claims that many of the personal details she wished to discuss publicly were overshadowed by careful control from Meghan's team, and sometimes by the very family members, like Doria, who were legally bound to remain quiet. The frustration of being silenced, Samantha says, is a wound that's never fully healed. The emotional intensity here is palpable. Thomas's sense of betrayal collides with Samantha's anger, while the public watches, transfixed, trying to piece together the real Meghan from fragments of truth, speculation, and family testimony. Short, punchy statements from the family create tension, while longer, reflective stories reveal the depth of hurt and frustration. It's a collision of loyalty and resentment, love and disappointment, a drama that could rival any television narrative. And here's the twist that makes this even more compelling. Both Thomas and Samantha hint that there were financial and legal arrangements designed to manage, or even silence, family voices. Could Doria's paid silence have been part of a broader strategy? Were other family members subtly controlled or coerced into silence as well? The implications are explosive, Because if this is true, it's not just a story of a single mother's confession. It's a family system meticulously managed to protect image over intimacy. And just when you think the tension can't get higher, the stage is set for the next bombshell. The financial agreement itself, the one that bought Doria's silence, and the scandalous secrets it protected. Because the most shocking details aren't just about hurt feelings. They're about money, loyalty, and truths so private that revealing them could rewrite Meghan's story entirely. Now comes the part that truly shocks. The financial agreement that kept Doria Ragland silent for years. Imagine being legally bound not to speak about your own family, having a contract that dictates what you can and cannot reveal. For many, it sounds impossible, even unfair. But for Doria, it was reality. And according to her, this agreement wasn't just a simple don't talk clause. It was meticulously designed to protect Meghan's public image, to shield her early relationships, her family disputes, and a range of deeply personal matters that could have caused scandals if made public. Think about the emotional weight of that. Every day, Doria carried the burden of knowing what she could and couldn't say. She witnessed her daughter's life in the spotlight, saw how rumors and speculation could spiral out of control, and yet remained bound by the terms of a contract she never wanted. There were moments when she wanted to speak freely, to share her side of the story, to clarify misunderstandings, but the agreement held her back. Imagine sitting at a family dinner or a private gathering, knowing something shocking happened or a private truth was circulating, and being forced to stay quiet. The tension, the frustration, the sense of helplessness. It must have been unbearable. And the secrets? They're more explosive than anyone could have imagined. Doria has hinted that they involve aspects of Meghan's early relationships and private life. Details that could rewrite the narrative the public has held for years. There were stories that challenged perceptions, stories of heartbreak, misjudgments, and personal struggles that were carefully hidden behind the veil of fame and control. Every time the media speculated, Doria knew the truth, but she couldn't speak. Every interview Meghan gave, every public appearance, Doria stayed silent, protecting the narrative and her daughter's image. But here's where it gets even more intense. The financial element. Doria admits she received compensation to remain silent, a fact that raises complicated questions about loyalty, love, and ethics. Should money ever come between family and truth? Can a mother's silence be justified if it protects her child, even at the cost of her own voice? These aren't just abstract questions, they're lived realities. And for Doria, they became an emotional crucible, testing her values, her patience, and her love for Meghan. And the ramifications don't stop there. Thomas and Samantha's stories intersect with this agreement, revealing a broader picture of family tension, exclusion, and secrecy. While Doria was paid to stay silent, Thomas and Samantha were left to grapple with feelings of betrayal and neglect. The arrangement highlights not only personal loyalty, but also the control of narrative, the shaping of public perception, and the emotional costs that come with it. So what happens when all these voices finally converge? The mother who stayed silent, the father who felt excluded, the sister who was left in the shadows? The answers are complicated, emotional, and utterly shocking. Because the financial agreement may have bought silence, but it couldn't buy peace, understanding, or resolution. The hidden truths are now coming to light, and the fallout promises to reshape what the world thinks about Meghan Markle and her family forever. And the ultimate shock? Some of the revelations are still unfolding, with consequences that no one in the royal world or the public could have predicted. The truth has finally come out. Doria Ragland's confession, Thomas Markle's frustrations, and Samantha Markle's revelations have pulled back the curtain on a family story that the public only glimpsed in fragments for years. What seemed like simple tabloid drama is actually a deeply human story of loyalty, silence, and the high cost of protecting someone's public image. Doria's financial agreement was never just about money. It was about navigating an impossible line between love, discretion, and self-preservation. Every secret she kept, every word she didn't speak, carried enormous emotional weight. She sacrificed her own voice to protect her daughter's narrative, and the toll it took is only now being understood. For Thomas and Samantha, the revelations open old wounds. Years of exclusion, unanswered calls, and sidelined attempts at connection created a complex web of resentment, disappointment, and unresolved emotions.